Hi, everybody. I am Dawn Westmoreland, and I'm coming from Asheville, North Carolina, the beautiful Blue Ridge Mountains, hailing from WPVM FM LP 103.7, the voice of Asheville. My show is called The Empowered Whistleblower. Blow the whistle on strategies to have in a better workplace and better employees and better leaders. Today, I'm so excited. I have J.R. Smith, who is the Vice President of the Veterans Ranch, coming from Lakeland, Florida. Hey there, how are you, JR?
Hey, how you doing? Thanks for having us here today.
Yes, my show airs every Tuesday at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time Zone, but because it's syndicated, you may pick it up at a different time. Now, I found out about J.R. Smith and his wife's mission to help veterans with horses. I grew up with horses as a child. I left when I was 7 years old from Fort Lauderdale, and my parents moved to some place called Interlochen, Florida, one stoplight town, and the whole reason was to have horses. I'd like you, JR, to talk about what your mission is, what you're doing for veterans, and how does it relate to horses?
Yeah. Well, again, thank you so much for having us here. We're really appreciative of being able to get our word and message out. The Veterans Ranch was started in 2017 by myself, my wife. The joke is, if anybody's old enough that, JR, do I know who shot me? But my reverse joke is JR married Pamela because my wife is Pam, and my dad. So I'm actually Mike Smith Jr. and my dad, Mike Smith Sr., hence why I go by JR. He is a Vietnam veteran, was in country 6970 of the great United States Navy. 2017, we were getting sick and tired of being sick and tired of reading article after article of, somebody going into the VA, and we're not hating on the VA here, but we all know they do have their issues they're trying to work through. And they'd say, hey, I feel like hurting myself. I want to check myself in. Nah, you're not effed up enough. Just go on home. And they off themselves in their car in the parking lot. Deny till you die. Here's another pill. We would hear that a lot from veterans. So we were trying to figure out what to do for veterans. Now, my wife and I are horse people. Okay, on the radio, you can't see that, but I'm a black Stetson hat and boots and buckle every single day of my life. And so, we were just trying to figure this out. You thought it would have been easy, and it really wasn't, if you will. I guess maybe just too stubborn headed or something. I don't know what it was. But October of 2017, first of all, half a step back, my dad always taught me to keep a legal pad by the bed in case you get an idea in the middle of the night. Make sure you write it down. I've had a lot of legal pads go a whole lot of nowhere. If you're like me, I'm sure y'all have done the same thing. This was a brand new legal pad. It still has one word chicken scratched on it, and that said ranch. Almost couldn't read it the next morning. Had no idea what it meant. We are a faith-based organization. So, we did a lot of that, looking up to the ceiling, looking down at the paper, kind of talking to God, going, hey, you going to explain this one to us here? Because we don't quite get it. And so we're headed to, I won't plug the restaurant in the business, but we're headed to a business one day, and we're going to go do some shopping, got to get some supplies. We stop at a restaurant for lunch, and it hits me. I mean, ideas are in my head like water, and I got to get them down, but I don't have my legal pad. It's by my bed. So 20 little restaurant napkins later, the ideas for the Veterans Ranch were born. And by December 2017, we were a charity, and here is our mission: to provide free, yes, I know, and equine therapy, okay, for our veteran and Gold Star family communities for as long as they need it. No charge whatsoever. Okay. Why? Because for every veteran out there listening, I know y'all hear it a lot. Thank you for your service, and thank you for your sacrifice, because most people don't understand the sacrifices you and or your family have made to serve our country so we can do what we're doing here today. So that is what we do in a nutshell. We simply start by putting a grooming brush in your hand. Shout out to our supporters at Decker Manufacturing out of Keokuk, Iowa, that give us our grooming supplies. And we simply start by putting that grooming brush in your hand and get you to work a rhythmic motion that detaches your brain a little bit. You're focusing on that task of what you have to do, and you're learning about the horse, and the horse is learning about you. I mean, Dawn knows horses are the most intuitive animal on the planet. They can feel a gnat land on their back, and they know everything about you 15 to 30 feet away. Yes, 15 to 30 feet away. So what they can do is they can help you lay down heavy coats of burden that maybe you didn't even realize you were still hanging on to, and help you start to walk off as that new and improved version of yourself. Veterans are not broken. Gold Star families are not broken. I hate the term. They've gone through things in their life, and, including the ultimate sacrifice of losing a family member. For everybody that doesn't know what a Gold Star family is, when they're active duty, you're a Blue Star family. If they're lost, and it does not have to be in combat, if they're lost while wearing the uniform, you're now a Gold Star family. It means you gave the ultimate sacrifice of your son or daughter for the freedom of this nation. Think about that one for a second. Marinate on that. And that is what we are helping people to work through. And that's kind of us in a real big nutshell.
That's very comprehensive. And thank you so much, JR, for the work that you do. I'm a retired Air Force veteran. I've been retired 18 years. And I know a lot of military veterans, and the Veteran Affairs here in Asheville, North Carolina is only 20 minutes away. And, I always say, I wish everybody had to go through, a VA medical center to see a lot of these men and women, and just to see the shape that they're in. It's, sometimes it's an invisible disability. It could be a mental health issue, major depression, anxiety, compulsive disorder. It could be PTSD. I'm an HR expert, and a life coach. I'm not a mental health person, but I know that there's a lot of people suffering out there. Now, one thing that I do know, JR, because we've talked, I've gotten to know you better. I'm starting to feel like you're my friend. You just inherited 3 horses that were given to you. And I know growing up with horses, it costs a lot of money to take care of them. What are some of the things that you have to do to maintain these horses so that they can offer this therapy?
Yeah, we just want to do a big shout out to the veteran. We don't say names, because not everybody wants, they're not trying to break their shoulder patting themselves on the back for a donation. But we were donated 3 horses. Yeah, the word cheap and horse never go hand in hand. A donated horse is not a no-cost horse. Right off the bat, you have, it depending on if you have to keep them somewhere, you have boarding costs. You have vet costs. Okay, they gotta see the vet. A lot of times horse people, the horse sees the vet more than you see a doctor.
Yeah.
You're making sure you're taking care of your investment. They eat better than you do. There's a song out there, y'all can Google it, called Horse People. I'm telling you, if you are one, you'll get it, you'll love it, because it explains us all to a T. They have to see the farrier. Okay, we all go out and we clip our nails, and women go get manis and petties and all these kind of things. About every 6-8 weeks, you got to do the same thing with your horse. So you don't always have to, unshoe them and reshoe them. A lot of times, if you're just out not doing much with that horse that requires shoes, they're just barefooted. But you still got to, quote, clip their nails every 6-8 weeks. They have to see a dentist about every 6 months. It's called floating their teeth, which is really a funny term. I'd love to know the history of how they came up with that, but it's called floating their teeth. So they have to get, grind and cleaned and everything else. And that costs money. A fool and his money might actually get closer together than the term cheap and horse. So there's always something. There's feed, there's hay. Hay costs, with inflation, go up and down, or if there's a drought, hay goes way up. You may have to go 3 states away to get good hay, and now you got to pay to truck it in. There's all kinds of things that go on with this. And I guarantee all my horse people out there right now are nodding their head like a bobblehead in their car going, They're like, preach on, brother.
Has
So
dropped the cost of
yeah, so even though the horses were donated to us, there's immediate expenses that have to go out. So we ask people to go to our website. There's buttons you can click on to sponsor a horse of, various amounts. You can do it for as much or as little as you're capable of doing. It all goes towards taking care of these beautiful four-legged toddlers we have.
And I want to, at least a couple times give you the opportunity to tell us, where do we go to donate if we want to donate any amount of money? Is there a website?
Absolutely. The website's very simple, theveteransranch.org, theveteransranch.org. Real easy site to go through. You can get some good education on everything we're doing, how we're fighting PTS. We're a big proponent of dropping the D. We do not believe it as a disorder. The government calls it that so they can qualify people for cash benefits. It is something y'all have walked through in life. A lot of people have various forms of PTS that never wore the uniform. So it's, again, it's things you've walked through and now have to learn to process differently. So yeah, theveteransranch.org. There's plenty of buttons you can click on to sponsor a horse, make a one-time or monthly donation, all kinds of ways that you can help support us. And we do appreciate everybody's support from small to large. Bible tells us not to put one man above another. So whether you give this much, a little bit, or you give a huge amount that maybe has 2 commas in a check, we love you all the same.
Oh, that's amazing, because I know a lot of people do want to help and they believe in helping veterans, and maybe they don't have a lot of money, but it all adds up. Now, I'm curious, and I'm sure our listeners might be also asking the same question, JR. What if they're not a veteran? Can they still benefit from your services? Do you take those kind of people?
We take veterans and immediate household family, and then of course the entire Gold Star family. As we grow and expand, there will be offerings of Western riding lessons and trail rides. That's open to anybody.
Okay.
So, you're Joe Sixpack, you never served, that's okay. God bless you. You want to come out and support. If you come out and take some Western riding lessons, you're still supporting the ranch.
Fantastic. Now, we have a veterans farm here, and they do equine therapy too. And I'm about to go out and see them the end of this month. And I'm wondering, what does it mean, equine therapy? Do people just get on a horse and ride, and and they experience the therapy? Or you mentioned brushing and getting in touch with the horse, and it sounded like you become mindless. What does the therapy break down into? I mean, what all kind of things happen?
Yeah, quite honestly, you're really detaching your brain. I've been self-employed since I was probably about 19. I'm almost 51. What we used to always teach in sales training is y'all leave your baggage at the door. It'll be there when you get back. They'll know on the other end of the phone or the other side of the sales desk or whatever. Boy, you just got to pay your cell phone bill. You really need that commission. Translate that into the veteran and Gold Star family space. We want there to be less baggage for you to pick up when you get back to the door. You are detaching your brain. You stop thinking about thinking. You're not thinking about maybe the argument you had with somebody in the car on the way there, somebody that cut you off, anything that could trigger something, right? You have to focus on the task and the process at hand. You have to put everything you got into what you're doing. So let's say we get you beyond the grooming phase and taking care of a horse phase, because we show you how to clean hooves, how to bathe it, holding a lot of basic horsemanship skills, because we're dealing with men and women. If anybody remembers the movie City Slickers, okay, they didn't have dogs or cats as pets, much less we're putting a 1,200-pound animal in front of them. So they have to learn a new skill. And so we'll put you in a round pen where it's just you, the horse, and you either have like a lead rope or a training flag in your hand. No halter, nothing attached to that horse that makes you tug on it and make that horse bend to your will. You have to build a bond of trust with an animal, inherently born not to trust anyone. Now, for everybody out there listening that wore the uniform, when you get out of the service, again, I'm a proud patriot. I'm the 99% that support the 1% that wear the uniform. So we learn from veterans, and we re-put that information out there to educate people. But when you took the uniform off, all of a sudden now you had trust issues, because in the corporate world, People will step on everybody for a promotion. You may have hated your chain of command in the service, but at least there was one. It had to go up the chain. We all know shit rolls downhill, right? I mean, it just, it happens. But, you had that chain. You knew where you stood in the pecking order. Sometimes in the corporate world, you don't have that. They say it's there, but it's not. So you don't have trust issues. Horses are pack and prey animals, which means their only defense mechanism is bite you or kick you. Now, again, to all my horse people out there, if that's ever happened to you, you're bobbleheading because that hurts like hell.
Oh, it does.
Yeah. But in the world of out in the wild, pack of wolves is trying to get you, that's not much of a defense mechanism. So their fight or flight is flight 99% of the time because they don't trust anybody. So veterans don't trust a lot of people, horses don't trust a lot of people. We try and make new friends, together. Real quick story. We had a young man not too far back where we had him in a round pen. He was in there for an hour and a half. He was trying to relax. If you're a Star Wars fan, Yoda says you can't try, only do.
Yeah.
And, we tried to get him to relax and he goes, I am relaxing, because his jaw was so tight. He was trying to whisper, and that's how it came out. Hour and a half later, we had this young man walking shoulder to shoulder around the round pen with this horse, actually stopped and turned, and the horse followed him and went the other way and got him back to the center of the arena. And within 5 minutes, this young mare, she was a white horse, looked like Silver from the Lone Ranger. So I'll date myself and everybody out here that's going, oh yeah. She comes up and puts her nose right in his chest. Young man melted like he was two, and there was not a dry eye around the arena. If there was, you needed to check your heart rate. That's the bond of trust that a horse can really just, and he said, I'm not a crier per se, but when that horse touched me, it was a watershed moment. It was just uncontrollable. Horses can change their heart rate to match your heart rate. I could go on for days. It's amazing what horses can do for people.
That's an incredible story. And we need to hear stories because, that's where we all bond, that universal story. I think everybody, right, JR, has had trust issues in their lives, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, yeah. So when you move forward with the work that you're doing, what are some of the things that you're going to need? Now, you said that you'll take donations and money. What if somebody wants to give, maybe somebody in the local region or nearby wants to support you? Is there a way that they can help you or support you?
Yeah, absolutely. There's all kinds of donations. You can donate land. We are a two-state organization. We're in Florida, we're in Texas. We used to teach people how you could donate and work that against your adjusted gross income and all that. And I'm no CPA by any means. I just know what I read and research and what have you. Let's say you got 10 acres and you want to donate that to the nonprofit. It's kind of like how you used to donate your car to the Kidney Foundation. They'd give you a receipt. The Kidney Foundation would go sell the car and take the money. All right, well, we're just going to use the land if it's usable, land for us to build stuff on, because we plan on having 10 ranches, bare minimum, in Florida, 10 ranches in Texas, expanding into North Carolina, as well as Tennessee. There are 20 million veterans in this sea to shining sea land of ours, and that number's constantly ebbing and flowing as some pass away and some transition out. But it's pretty constant, 20 million number. Just between Florida and Texas are 4 million veterans. So one location, we can serve 5 to 10,000 people a year, but that barely scratches the surface. So land, tack for the horses, certain things, right? There's certain things that are really size dependent for a horse. Like there are halters, you can get small, medium, large, just like you buy t-shirts because horses are different sizes. But lead ropes, reins, the 3 saddles you see behind me were donated by a retired Vietnam Marine. So we love those donations. Of course, a nonprofit saying they need money is like Captain Obvious dancing across the screen. Of course we do. But you need to share our message. That's a donation. Share it amongst your friends. You may not be able to donate a single penny. Inflation's crazy. So, we know how that works. But if you can tell 5 of your friends that can tell 10 of their friends, they may know somebody that could change our life. So we got to get the word out. We don't talk about veterans issues. Quite honestly, this country's been bad at it its whole life.
And let's
You
talk about
know,
that. That's what I
yeah.
wanted to jump into. I know what it was like after I got out after 20 years. And I also know too that anybody who stays in, whether they stay in 4 years, they stay in 8, 10, 12, it doesn't matter, or if they stay in 20 like I do, they have to hold it in a lot of times if they're having issues. Where today, if you're in a civilian job, private, you work for any, company, and you're having problems. Maybe your parent is dying, they have cancer, your wife has, just miscarried or something like that. They encourage you to talk about it. But I can tell you though, from my own experience, and now I've been out 18 years and it really hasn't changed much. We were not allowed to be anything but tough. We were not allowed to talk about the things that were eating our souls inside, things. And sometimes people think that, you only get PTSD because you served, in the war, or a combat zone. Not necessarily true. There's positions, of authority that people step into, military people, and some of them are not so savvy and not so nice. And sometimes they will take advantage of those positions. When you see people that come out of any of the militaries, Army, Navy, Air Force, Coast Guard, um, Marines, excuse me. Let me not forget the Marines. God bless them. My brother was a Marine. What are some of the things that you're seeing from some of the people who are not doing so good? They've had experiences that are not healthy or good.
Yeah, you're right on point. What I've been told by tons of veterans is they were told in the service, if it's not a unit problem, it's your personal problem. So deal with it on your personal time. Well, it may have been a unit problem at one point, but now it's your personal problem. Well, we all know in the service, okay, what personal time? You don't have personal time. You're told when to pee for 4 to 20 years of your life. So, basically shove it down, compartmentalize, press on, mission focused, front sight focused, stay on task. So you get out, and now, we expect you to be in the quote real world. Well, your real world, since you were a young, dumb 18-year-old kid stepping off the bus on some yellow boot prints, having 4 drill instructors yell 4 separate orders at you at the same time, using words your mama never used. That's been your real world.
Yeah.
So we try and educate a lot of businesses too. It's like, look, they come out of an acronym world. They come out of a chain of command, up and down, right or wrong. It's chain of command world. So when they're coming at you, don't tell them they're especially in the corporate world, you're overqualified, you're underqualified, whatever. No, they're not. I got a good friend of mine in Weatherford, Texas. He's a 20-year retired chief petty officer. And he said he told a boss one time, because he bounced through a lot of jobs when he got out. And he said, I went in as a young, dumb 18-year-old kid and in 20 years made chief. He said, I know people that try to make chief that don't make chief.
Right.
I could learn your job. I could learn your certified skills in half the time the people with a 4-year degree did, because that's how the military trained me.
Right.
We need to take advantage of the skill set they have of being able to process something. Sure, sometimes you got to be certified in things, but that's okay. Give them the classes, they'll learn it twice as fast. And so in our world, as we hire more and more people, I'd love to say every single person, but sometimes there are proud patriots like me that are qualified for the job. But the majority of people we're going to be hiring are veterans, their immediate household family, and Gold Star families, because by God, they deserve it. They signed their name on the dotted line. And again, for every veteran out there, y'all understand this, but I'm talking to patriots right now. Okay. They signed their name on the dotted line. I don't care if they were a cook slinging eggs for 20 years, to potentially give their last full measure of devotion for their country. Put down the spatula, grab a rifle, and you may not make it home by the end of the day. Think about that for a second, folks. Do you think maybe we deserve to give them everything we can give them?
You're one of the most passionate people I know advocating for veterans, and I'd like to acknowledge that too. Usually it's veterans advocating for veterans. So, I love that we we have people like you out there, JR, that are doing the things that you can do to help, get veterans back on their feet and such. Now, being my show is about the workplace, I want to tie it into the workplace. When you work with these veterans, right? How do they become better, leaders in the workplace, better entrepreneurs or better employees through the work that you're doing at this time?
So through these horses, we call them God's majestic animal, by the way, because there's nobody else but God that could have put such an amazing animal on this planet. It helps them realize they do have purpose still. They do have mission, service of giving back. Okay. They don't have to stifle it. I know it's a t-shirt bumper sticker logo these days, but it's okay to not be okay. It is okay to talk about it, and we do it in a safe environment that there is no judgment. Say it how you want to say it. I love the military that use an F-bomb like a comma. I mean, just say it how it needs to be said, no judgment. And then we show you how to, with some of the additional things we do, because the military, again, a veteran told me one time he got to wear his civvies for 2 weeks, and then see ya. They've gotten better with their transitioning out services, but I equate it to breaking up with your boyfriend or girlfriend. When you say you're leaving and you're done, that's it. They just don't talk to you anymore. And I've been told that's the military personified. So we're going to show you, they used to show you how to write a resume and go out in the job world. Well, that's a little dated these days. So we're not only going to show you how to write a good resume, how to have those good job interview skills, how to have a good LinkedIn page. I can't tell you how many veterans I see that got a crappy headshot, no background shot, and they got 6 followers and go, well, I got a LinkedIn page. We're going to show you how to do that better. I've been self-employed, like I said, since I was about 19. We're going to show you how to run your own business, because who's going to hold yourself more accountable than you, right? A boss isn't going to hold you accountable. You're going to hold yourself accountable so you can hire other veterans. It's not the handout, it's a hand up, because you're always a mentor and a mentee at the same time, right? I got people that I reach up to give me guidance and advice, and I'm reaching back to help others. You got to do the same thing in the veteran community. The one thing I see is that, well, we don't talk about it. We just don't talk about it. Bullshit. Reach out to your battle buddies you had, because now that you've taken the uniform off, now you need life battle buddies. Reach out to them. Ask them if they're doing okay. Of course, they're going to tell you, I'm good, I'm fine. We all know the acronym for fine. Find out what they need. Civilians out there, thank them for their service. Buy them a cup of coffee. Occasionally, buy them a lunch at Cracker Barrel when you see them wearing their service hat, whatever branch or time they served in. Don't tell them you're doing it. You don't got to break your shoulder, patting yourself on the back. Just do it. Because by God, they're too proud. They won't let you do it if they know you're doing it.
That, yeah. Well, we're down to the last minute and a half of this interview, JR. My gosh, you're so passionate about the work you do, and it just comes across that way. And again, what you're doing is amazing, incredible for veterans, and then it's a rippling effect in all of our communities when you're helping a veteran. So I am Dawn Westmoreland, coming from Asheville, North Carolina, WPVM FM LP 103.7, the voice of Asheville. And JR, to wrap up, where can people get a hold of you if they want to find out more about your work, to donate maybe time, land, resources, cash? Where can they go to?
Yeah, numerous ways, right? The website, the easiest, theveteransranch.org. It's got our phone number, contact page. You can get to us everywhere from there. Of course, follow us on all the socials. Any major one you can think of that exists out there, we're on it, and probably some that you never thought of that we're on. So you can find us, follow us, like, share. YouTube, we always got our videos and everything on there. And again, we just thanks everyone for their support.
Yes. JR, again, thank you. And to your wife, Pam, for her, is it Pam or Pamela?
You should go Pam. Yeah.
We thank you for your service to veterans and the great work that you're doing. To everybody that's listening, stay empowered. We'll see you next time. Take care and check out J.R. Smith and his wife's mission. Be well.